Getting served sucks, but what do you actually have to do, and what is the document that you're being handed? That's what I'm going to break down today. My name is Bobby Buchanan. I'm the host of Illinois Divorce TV and a practicing divorce attorney in the Chicagoland area. Today we're going to break down the summons. The summons is the document that you will be handed if you're ever served in a divorce case. So this is what you're looking at right now, is the summons itself. And I'm showing you the Cook County summons, and I'm going to break down each part of it so you can understand what you're actually looking at. This entire part right here is what attorneys call the caption. The caption is the part of a court document that lays out what court it's in, what type of action it is, and who the parties are, what the case number is, and in this case, where the respondent should be served. So first things first, right at the top here, we have what type of case it is. In a divorce case, this box right here is going to be checked to state that it's a marriage or it involves a marriage. Down below right here is the petitioner. That's your spouse that's going to be filing this case against you. And then down below that is the respondent, or you in this case. The respondent, the petitioner and the respondent are just names for basically where those names are on in the caption. They don't have any legal advantages one versus the other. They might have some strategic advantages. Usually the petitioner has their ducks in a row a little bit more. You may be caught on your heels if you're served as the respondent, and the petitioner may have all their financials already organized. Most don't, but they may. So if you're looking at a spouse that may be very aggressive in their case, then you might want to get out in front of it. But you're not going to go to court and the judge is going to say, oh, you're the petitioner, you're the respondent, therefore you probably should have the kids, and you shouldn't because you filed first. It's not a race to the courthouse type of situation. So going back to the caption right here, obviously we have the case number. When you get assigned a case number, well, when your spouse files, they get assigned a case number, and then you put that case number on every single document you file. You use that case number to look up your case in the county database. Right below that is what's called a calendar. Not every county does this, but Cook County does. And what a calendar is cases are assigned to calendars that are not assigned to judges, and then judges are assigned to calendars. So a judge could come off of a calendar. It doesn't usually happen, but your case is going to stay on that calendar for the duration of the case. In certain cases, and I'll do a video on this, it will switch calendars because Cook County is what's called a team and individual calendar system. But for now, just know that your calendar is basically your judge assignment. So if you see calendar D, you can actually go online and find out who is the judge for calendar D. So that is what's called the caption. And here, if I can figure out where my mouse is, I will scroll down and show you. Here we go. Let's delete this. Right here, this area right here, you can just ignore that for the most part. Don't worry about that. That is just codes for the clerk of the court. They really have no legal significance. We're going to scroll down a little bit more here, and what do we see? Oops. So we're kind of getting to the meat of it here. Right here, obviously, this is checked. That means summons. Alias summons just means it's not the first summons. So if you're not successfully served on the first go around, then your spouse is going to have to get what's called an alias summons. Basically, it just means the second, third, fourth, fifth are not the first summons. Now, this is where you really need to start reading, because it tells you exactly what needs to be done. It tells you what has happened, tells you what the legal import of this document is. And it says The petitioner has filed a legal proceeding against you for one or more of the following, and then dissolution of marriage is checked, and that's a divorce. Down below, it's going to tell you what you need to do next. So right here it says you are summoned and required. Summoned, is just an old legal term, but you can just basically read it as you are required to file your appearance and response no later than 30 days. So you have 30 days to do what you're supposed to do here. The clock starts ticking once you get the summons. So let's delete this and scroll to the next page. On the next page, it actually tells you what you need to do and how you need to do it. So it already said you need to file your appearance and response. Now here's where things can get a little confusing if you don't know the nuances of legal terminology. Down here it starts referring to your appearance date is not a court date. It is the deadline for filing your appearance or answer. Well, there is no actual appearance date on here. It's just 30 days after you were served. And it's not 30 days after it's stamped, it's 30 days after you are served. It then goes on to talk about your appearance and your answer. Wait a minute, we were talking about our appearance and response. What is an appearance and an answer? Well, answer is the same thing as response. They are just not very clear, or they're not very consistent in the terminology that they're using in this document. So you need to file two documents, an appearance and an answer. Down here, it gives you direction on how to do it. E-filing, and e-filing is a little bit tedious, but once you get the hang of it, it's way better than having to go to the courthouse and file something. Let's go ahead and delete what we've put down there now, and we can go a little bit lower here. There's some more information here, and it's telling you how you can find your court date. In Cook County, there's not an automatic court date. So when a court date is actually set is going to depend on when the parties file the initial motions. Your case can just be lingering without any court date for several months in Cook County. Eventually, the clerk will set a court date, a status date, to make the parties come into court and tell the court what's actually going on. And if they don't show up, then the case is dismissed itself. So let's delete that, and then we can go down a little bit further. There's some information on appearing remotely. That information is also elsewhere online. And if we go down all the way, the last page, or the most important part on the last page, is the dissolution action stay. This basically means that once this case is filed, you are legally prohibited from doing certain things. They're things that you probably aren't doing anyway, but you could be held in contempt of court if you do them. So physically abusing, harassing, intimidating, striking, or interfering with the personal liberty of the other party or minor child of either party, and then concealing the minor child from the other parent. So you can't, you get served and you're like, well, you're serving me with divorce, you're not going to see the kid. Can't do it. And the other party could bring a motion against you, and you could be held in contempt for doing that. So that's the summons in a nutshell. It can be overwhelming to receive this document, and by explaining it here, I'm hoping that I've kind of dispelled some of that confusion. The main part of this document is you get served and you have 30 days to file that appearance and that answer, also known as a response. If you don't file those things, then the other side will file or could file what's called a motion for default. And that is a motion that says to the court, the other side's been served, they're not participating, they're not cooperating, so we want to end this case on our terms. And the judge will do that, so long as those terms aren't completely unconscionable and they comport or follow the law. As always, if you have any questions, comments, anything like that, drop them in the comment box below on the social media platform where you're seeing this, and I will respond to you and help you along your way. I'll talk to you soon.